Hello, hello, good morning. Hello, happy Saturday. Oh, there you go. Hi. Congratulations on getting first, Archie. It's so good to see you. I hope you're all having a good weekend so far. Yeah, hi, Ella. Oh, cute. You're dancing together. That's so nice. Have you guys done anything fun yet? I went grocery shopping yesterday. Well, I guess not full grocery shopping. I don't know. I just wanted bagels, so I got bagels from Walmart. Um, um, yeah, it was really cool. It's really cool, and I also did the laundry, and I cleaned my kitchen. I don't know. I don't really know what happened yesterday. I just spawned in. You got tattoo touch-ups, yo! For the one on your shoulder. That's so nice. That's so nice. I only have one tattoo. I've never got it touched up before. I I got it. I got it in 2020. Although it was like 6 years ago, I think. But I don't know. I don't know. I've never touched it up before. I don't know how often you're supposed to do that. Hi, Oza. About multiplayer. No. No. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Saturday. Now I can sleep happily. Oh my goodness. Hello. There's so much going on. Good night. Hello, and also good night, Tommy. I hope you sleep so good. Good night. Good night. Good night. Alright, let me open the game. Oh wow, I saw your dumpy when you sent her a video. Why was your dumpy in the video? If your tattoo is on your shoulder, doesn't that seem a little bit suspicious of you? Aren't you aren't you maybe isn't that kind of on you? I don't know. Much to think about. But I have to get my friend a ride later. So I'll start right away. The artist took a video from the side. Oh. Oh, I thought you were the person who took the video. I guess that's a little different. um, well, was it sort of awesome? Was it sort of awesome, do you think? I'm gonna play Defect. Shout out to all my Defect enjoyers out there. I think he's so cute and also perfect. Um, I'm pausing Spotify. That's some that's some intense music. Sorry, I feel maybe not tired, but mm, like something.
I
I don't
am.
know. Oh, ahem. Listening? Listening? What are you ahemming for? Just straighten my hair. I am now evil. Sheesh! I love evil women. This is so awesome. Sheesh. Wait, I'm not putting on an accent. It's fine, it's fine. Told her not to look and she did? Oh. Maybe that's on you as well because I don't know. If somebody tells me not to look, I feel like I'm gonna look even harder now. You think defect is cute? Where's Ugg post? Straight hair is evil. Why? Why are you typing in my chat like it's Yahoo Answers? I do think defect is cute. Have you seen them? And then this is fine. Have you seen them? They're so look at their shape. I don't know. And look at the little like hands. They kind of I don't know. He's very endearing. I really quite like him. Know what straight hair Aphex is specifically? That's kind of swag. I think everybody deserves to be a little bit evil as a treat. My hair is so curly and I'm evil. Wow, shout out to all my evil ladies in the chat. This is so awesome. This is so awesome. I don't know if I'm evil or not. I'm I'm maybe a little bit evil, but not that much. Just like a regular amount, I would say. And my hair is pretty straight. I didn't straighten it, so it's not like the straightest it could be. But you know, in general, my hair sits pretty straight. Defect kind of thick. What? Yeah. Listen, I wasn't gonna say it, but he is kind of thick. Look at his thighs. They're so, they're so voluptuous. Bad to meet you, Awa, because I'm evil. Sheesh. It's so over. Oh. Okay, if you find a river, do you put it in a bottle or do you take a bath? I don't know. I always like in media whenever there's like a waterfall or something and people are taking a bath in there. Like that feels so whimsical. I don't know if I'd do that in real life though. Just cause I don't know. I don't know. I get maybe if I knew that the water was clean, but I would be slightly nervous. Just a bit. Make it extra thick. I think there's lore to why he's extra thick. I think in the first game he got broken or something, and then now in the second game he like had to piece himself back together with spare parts, maybe? Oh, I think that's why he's kind of larger. The evil arc really fell off after Undertale Genocide Run? That's kind of true. I'm not doing the best job I could be at being a villain. Bottle the whole river. And do what? Are you drinking an entire river? That's just unreasonable. Would you drink river water? I think that's how you get diseases, maybe, perhaps. But maybe it's worth it. Maybe if it tastes good. I really looked in the mirror after I did it. And the Grinch smile immediately appeared on my face. That's so awesome. I didn't know you had that dog in you. I didn't know you could Grinch smile. Bathe in it, then run to the end and bottle it up to sell it. Oh. Okay. That makes sense. How much would you sell it for? If everybody had to sell their bathwater, what price point would you put on it? I think $100 is reasonable, right? Fox Girl spring water, yippee! Oh, if it's spring water, that's like extra. It's like extra special, right? I don't know. I feel like people pay more money for spring water. I don't know. I just put tap water in a Brita filter. Hi, Aaron. River nymph bathwater. Sheesh.
Fuck.
Oh. What? Hello? What? Thanks, I guess. She literally has Grin in her name? Oh, that's true. I guess I should have known better, huh? I don't know. I remember seeing a video of Jim Carrey doing the Grinch smile, and there's like no prosthetics or anything. He just has those facial muscles, and I think that's really awesome, but also like kind of scary. Like, how do you find out that you can do that? Do you have to practice for that? I don't know. Much to think about. My bad, I had to step away for a sec because I was thirsty. I had to drink a whole river. You know, and we can't blame you for that. That's completely... that is completely reasonable. Man, I don't really want to take all that damage. Womp. I'm also named after Aphex Twin, and that guy has mastered the evil smile. I feel like I looked up Aphex Twin recently because I saw an Instagram reel about him. And I was like, I really don't know what they're talking about. I have to know what they're talking about. And he is not, he looks a lot different than I envisioned in my head. Couldn't say everything in one go. So you, so you redeemed TTS twice, one to say ahem, and then one to say F word. That's so chaotic. I I envy you, I think, a little bit. This is so pretty. Hmm. I don't really know if I'm in a fight 5 elites kind of situation. I guess I'm not on any ascension though. I'll try. Hmm. I want to slay Aspire too, but I'm trying so hard to be reasonable. Chaotic glad at times. Oh, sorry, responsible, not reasonable. I guess being responsible is being reasonable in a way. Why don't why don't you be a little bit responsible and then you slay Aspire too? Or do them at the same time, like split screen your brain. I think that would maybe be awesome. Hi, Ryan! How's it going? Happy Saturday! I'll be unreasonably responsible. Dang, I wish. uh, I think being reasonably responsible is hard. So being unreasonably responsible, sheesh. I watched the last episode of Adventure Time. Not yesterday, but the night before. That's all I had to say about that. I didn't have a point to saying that. I just wanted you all to know. That on top of Omori, and then I'm also watching Severance. And I don't know, you guys. I think I'm cooking my brain a little bit. Too much profound thought. Not enough sand. You woke up from a nap? Good morning! I hope your nap was good. Oh, yeah. Love to see it. Reasonably irresponsible. I feel like almost any amount of irresponsibility is reasonable. Maybe not reasonable, but like understandable. I also finished watching Death Note. Looking back, that might have contributed to the evil arc. Oh, I gotta say, I really don't know how Death Note ends. I really don't know much about the plot of Death Note either. Other than it feels kind of like Toxic Yaoi a little bit. But I hope it was good. I hope it was satisfying. I mean, none of these are really claw build baddies. I think I'm cooked. Well, the note causes death. Oh. I see. Was I like the ending a lot? Yo. That's good. What do you guys, of all the shows that you've ever seen, which one do you think has the worst ending? I feel like I'm not usually too unhappy with endings of shows. I think for the most part, I'm just like sad that it's over. There haven't been too many where I was like, man, that sucked really bad. I guess I didn't like the ending to Stranger Things that much. But I feel like people made it seem worse than it was. Surprisingly, I do not ship the toxic Yogi in this show. Not that on brand for me, I know. Yo! That is really not on brand for you. Do they just not have chemistry? I don't know. I've seen a lot of memes where it's like, this is Death Note without the inner monologue or whatever. And they're just like low-key staring into each other's eyes. But I feel like that's somewhat chemistry. Maybe, perhaps. White dude finds a notebook that kills people and goes on a power trip and tries to kill people according to his own morality and fools the police by eating potato chips. I have seen a potato chip scene before. That's kind of awesome. Oh, is he like a vigilante? Is he like, oh, these people deserve to die? I did not think I would be that responsible if I had a death note. I probably wouldn't realistically use it if I had it. But like, I might just cause drama for fun. I don't know. just being real. It's more than I think one of them is genuinely incapable of love. I could see the other one being in love with him. But that would be really sad. Oh. That does sound really sad. Man. Doomed Yowie, huh? Kinda like he's killing criminals at first. But then just anyone who goes after him. That's so awesome. I think he's kinda real for that. Sheesh. I come back and everybody's just talking about Death Note OMG. Oh, don't call her out like that. Are you saying she talks about it a lot? Am I gonna have to step in? Hmm. Would you lose 18 health for 161 gold? I think I would. I think that's worth it. I'm evil. Sheesh. It's talking about Death Note evil. Evil Death Note watcher. Oh my goodness. I don't know. Are people who watch Death Note evil? I feel like there's some shows where like you hear the name and you're like, yeah, the fandom's a little bit evil, huh? I don't think Death Note is one of them. At least just not what I'm familiar with. We made a joke. What if Patrick Star found the Death Note and didn't know what it did, so he just used it as a diary? SpongeBob. And that's raps for old Sponge Boy. Okay, well, don't call him old Sponge Boy. You sound like you're 80 years old. Wow. Okay. That would be really, really sad, I think. I think that would be incredibly traumatic for Patrick. I don't think we should entertain that one too much. Death Note is 100% one of them? Really? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Disastrous consequences for everyone involved. Oh. Man, that is kind of evil. Maybe maybe Dilsey and Aphex are a little evil. Why would you why would you think about that? Poor Patrick. I mean, I saw somebody misspell Patrick as Patrice the other day, and that kind of fried me. I think that's one of the funniest things I've ever read. He went on a grief-ridden crusade against everyone. Oh, SpongeBob... SpongeBoy me Bob. This sounds like a creepypasta, actually. Patrick's Rampage. Guys... I don't think Patrick would have it in him to, like, seek vengeance. Like, for starters, I think he's just a little too stupid to have that sort of complex thought. But then on the other hand, even if he did, I feel like he's a bit of a sweetie. I feel like he wouldn't do that. I don't know. Grace, you are evil. We've known this for so long. I mean, yeah, that's pretty real. That's pretty real. Watch this video of a guy at a con asking people what anime characters should be president, and the amount who said light, literally guy who kills hundreds of people a month, is so concerning. Maybe they were doing the thing where it's like, this person for president, and they just, that's just their way of saying they like the character. Maybe, hopefully. I don't think any anime character should be president. I don't know. I feel like they're all too young. Have you explored the lore? Do you remember the King Patrick episode? The crown was all it took to make him into a power-hungry freak? I don't remember him being king. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm afraid. I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about. But surely he's just a sweet little guy. Man, I think I'm dead. Have you considered our Patrick is messed up and evil? Why did you make him evil? Light is brilliant and on paper a great leader, but dude is still a verifiable psychopath? Okay, what's your guys' answer then? I don't know. I don't know. I can't think of any calm, cool, collect anime characters who are not, like, in high school. Not a charming level, but a genuine fucked up level? What if that's kind of awesome? Have you considered that some people might think that's kind of awesome? 12 plus 11? Oh my god, I'm dead. It's okay. I wasn't feeling this run. I didn't get claw cards. That was just warm up. Also has an insane god complex and thinks he's way smarter and a better person than he is. Not a guy who should be in a position of power. Yeah, that sounds pretty scary. Oh, sorry. I'm so used to pressing multiplayer. Oh. I thought the ascensions were across all the characters. But maybe that's just multiplayer. Alright. I gotta get Ascent 1 with this guy then. Yippee! There's an episode where some bozo... Okay, girl, you have got to stop saying bozo. I was like, OMG, Patrick, we discovered that you are next in line to be king. And he becomes king and immediately becomes a tyrant. Dot. Well, you know, being a tyrant and, like, going on a vengeful murder spree is kind of different, right? Surely those are not equal. I want L to be president? Hmm. I don't know. I don't know. Again, I haven't seen this show or read it, and I don't know too much about it, but I just feel like he's too much of a goober, no? And me, his first lady. Okay, well, I think we're seeing the underlying issue here. He also manipulates the only one who genuinely loves him despite him being a murderer. Hmm. That is unfortunate. That is unfortunate, but what if what if that's a trait that I find enjoyable in characters? Have you considered that? Elle could be president, but he wouldn't want to? How old are these people? Are they like in their 20s? I really don't want any of these cards, but I don't want to be stuck in a situation where I don't have any cards that aren't starters. Not if I fight you for a polyamorous relationship. Two L's make a W. Peace on earth. Okay, guys. I love to see the compromise, but I worry that's not how that works. Seek therapy. I don't really know what to say about that. Fuck if I know. Oh, thank you. Think early 20s. Light is in college. I know high school, just entering college. Okay, well, then they don't qualify to be president anyway. At least, I don't know. I guess maybe it's different in Japan. But at least in the United States, you have to be 35 to be president. So I think maybe those guys are cooked. Hi, Dark Monarch. Thank you for the hydrate. Rules. Okay. And this is why you're not gonna be president. That's so cooked. That's so cooked. Foster president? Okay, well, that's that's so sweet. I don't think I want that even a little bit. Like, I don't know. I want to lay in bed for an hour. And I just feel like you probably can't do that. You probably got a lot of work to do. Maybe maybe in a few years. No, wait, I meant Dilsey. Girl, I feel like Dilsey would pass the craziest laws imaginable. I don't know. Elle is also that age, and he's the most trusted detective in the world by all intelligence agencies. And also, I like him, so he can do anything. Man, this is some Danganronpa logic. It's like, wow, you are the most you are the most powerful detective in the whole world. Also, you're a teenager. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like we need more anime with like 40-year-olds. I need I need people who are not prodigies right off the bat. Hi Garrett, how's it going? Love you, Buzzlet. Please don't be president. Okay, well, I wasn't planning on it. But also rude. I agree with you, though. If as president, you promise weekly fresh chocolate chip cookies, you have my vote. See, that's the kind of thing I mean. I don't wanna have to commit to all these responsibilities. Like, what if I'm not president and I just make chocolate chip cookies like once per month, and then you say, "Oh my God, you're so cool." I feel like that's just a much more enjoyable trade-off. Honestly, shadow government is crazy. Yeah, that's kind of real. I would not trust him as president. Girl didn't even know that Mississippi was the largest river in the US. Okay, but like, how many people realistically know that? I guess you could make an educated guess, but I feel like that's just a fun fact that maybe you learn in school one time, and then it's not really necessary to commit it to memory. If I needed to know what the longest river was, I would just like pull out a map and check. Why would I use my precious brain space on something like that when I could have important things in there, such as the Genshin Impact voice actors. This guy's gonna blow up, huh? Have you been having lots and lots of fun? Thank you. That's so sweet of you. Thank you. I'm I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm learning. I'm not learning, but I'm doing something. I'm trying to do cloud build. It's going medium. Why is everyone so young? In my mind, all the people in Ace Attorney are like in their 30s. In reality, they're like 24. Really? Oh, they look a lot older than 24. I don't know. Their hairlines are a little sus for that one. The president should not have sand brain. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really drawn to the concept of power. I don't want to be in charge even a little bit. I'd rather just be like homies with someone who's in power, you know? So I still get everything I want, but I don't have to be responsible. Does that make sense? He's saying hi. No. Not particularly, but like we're getting there. We're getting there. We're warming up. We're warming up. 6 out of 7 streak. I gotta forget to attend all streams from now on. Just maintain this. Ah, that's so awesome. But what if you got a 67 streak? Wouldn't that be kind of poggers? Twice a month you got a deal? Man, alright, but you have to pay for the ingredients. I do not want to buy 2 bags of chocolate chips per month. That one is not in the presidential budget. I got Apex to play Ace Attorney? Great time to be alive! That's so nice. I hope it was awesome. Who's your favorite Ace Attorney character? I won't know who you're talking about, but you can tell me anyway. How did Edgeworth finish law school and has gray hair at 24? Buying it. That's so awesome. Shout out to that guy. I believe in you. Thank you. Thank you. Don't even worry. We're doing things. We're doing things. It's maybe coming together. There's a certain character I'm super excited for you to meet, and you know who it is, but she was prosecuting triassol when she was 14. 14? Who let a 14-year-old in the courtroom? I don't know. I feel like media is kind of scared of making characters be regular ages. Feral build. Oh my god, that's so real. I don't have feral yet, though. Surely it will come to me. This guy's gonna suck. Just a little unlucky. My favorite is Franziska von Karma. That name sounds so familiar. I think you talked about them before, but I don't have a mental image. My favorite is the guy with the visor and coffee. I cannot remember his name. Godot? Is his name Godot? The silliest name I ever heard. I have a lot of favorites, but I really do think he's Edward. I just love him. Yeah, I don't know anything about any of them. I like the blonde fella, but only because he's pretty. I don't know anything about him. He has a whip? Oh. In the courtroom? Is that regular? Your Honor, I move to dismiss my client's case. You let this kid in here? Yeah, that is so interesting. The T is silent. Gado? Gado. I don't think I like that name. I think that's an unfortunate one. I'm sorry if your name is Gado. Bonfella? Clavier Gavin? Yeah. Yeah, that sounds right. Maybe. I don't know. He was in the tournament. And he was very beautiful. And that's all I know. You got with the witness of it. I've never been in a courtroom before. I didn't know. Why do you say things so funny? Okay, what did I say funny? Listen. Listen, I just say them the way that they look. I would know. I got an English degree. You sing it like Chocado. Bro, it's... Okay, I don't know. Guddo? You're spelling it like Guddo. Could someone just record themselves saying it? And then I'll play it on stream and I'll go, oh, that's stupid. Someone take us to court? For what? I haven't committed any crimes yet. At least I don't think so. I do speed quite a bit. That's kind of a bad habit of mine. But other than that, I don't really be breaking the law. I think I'm pretty regular. Maybe it's a G meta. I like meta. Miwin redacted and Joe Gatto beat up the homeless. That's nice. I hope it goes well. Objection, Your Honor. My client was simply a silly girl with an English degree that can't read. Okay, well, crazy of you to assume that you would be my lawyer. Wait, I had a lawyer at one point. That was like a running joke. Was it Dilsey? I don't think it was Dilsey. I feel like Dilsey was supposed to take me to court. Somebody was supposed to take me to court. And then somebody was supposed to be my lawyer. But unfortunately, I forgot. So I guess I'm lawyerless. Send in your applications. Looking for one. Yeah, it was Dilsey. But I was also suing you on a separate charge. Isn't that a conflict of interest then? I don't think you can do that. I think that's so cooked. Objection, Your Honor. Literally, who cares? Like, literally, who cares? That's so real. Not me. Not me. Swag. Me and TJ were gonna sue you for something. Oh yeah. And you don't even know what for? Shout out Freaky Crab? Okay, don't actually shout out Freaky Crab and then it says they were streaming on my Twitch account. Is this a crab? I guess it's a crab. I don't like its pulsating lumps. A bit yucky. I forgot. Oh, that's good. Surely, like if you wait long enough, it expires, right? I don't know. I don't know any legal stuff, but that sounds reasonable, I think. Jeff Bezos. Wow, they were also playing on my account. Sheesh. Well, that's fine, I guess. Not a conflict of interest if the charges are entirely independent. An outcome of one doesn't affect the other. But wouldn't Dilsey be inherently biased if she was supposed to be my, like, lawyer in defending me, but then she's also prosecuting me? Like, cause what if she throws the court case? Are you allowed to throw court cases if you're not vibing with your client? Like, every once in a while as a little treat. Like, obviously they wouldn't tell you that you could, but like, on the down low, could you? I feel like I would. You're doing so good. Thank you. Thank you. I need more claws. No way, Jeff Bezos plays Slay the Spire. Clapstream win. Yeah, I'll think about that one for sure. You think you would give subs if I asked really nicely? These are orbs. Oh, thank you. And this kind of costs money that I don't want to spend. But I guess it's better than nothing. I can't be biased, I'm Dilsey. Freaky Crab and Jeff Bezos collab? Why did you give Freaky Crab an underscore? Like, I'm not hating, I'm just wondering what your thought process for that one was. It is not healthy in here. One cannot be both biased and Dilsey. I feel like Dilsey is one of the most biased people I've ever met. Like, if you show her a pretty girl, then she'll just agree with anything you say, I'm afraid. Oh, do you think clone is good for Claw? Is that swag? I think the OMG is correct. I think maybe that would go crazy. Slurp. If she's defending you in the case she's bringing against you, then yes, that's a no-no. But if she's defending you in case 1 and bringing case 2 against you, then it's fine. Yeah, but then you just gotta trust her not to throw. I don't know. I would be so sussed out. Is the Freaky Crab Mr. Krabs? They have a lot to talk about? What would they even talk about? Do you guys remember when, like, that episode where they went on a panty raid and then they were just playing with Mr. Krabs' mom's underwear? I don't know who wrote that episode, but that was certainly something. I think about that sometimes. Clone Clot will be the best friend ever. Just have 300 claws and win in one turn somehow. Okay, well, you can't just have claws. You also have to have card draw of some sort. And then, you know, some sort of defense. Maybe. Maybe perhaps. Money? Money. What does money have to do with
Sup home
anything?
slice, it's me Jazzy Jeff Bezos.
Okay,
I am
I'm
Prime when
listening.
I go on this game. I play Slay the
Ew.
Spire when I am listening on Audible. Alexa,
Ew.
send Faust a photo of my bald fucking head and ask her to collab with me. You can stream on my channel cause I own Twitch. Il giggity Lois and make another order.
Okay. That's so great, sweetie. Wow, what a good use of free will, huh? I'm so glad. Man, what do you think Jeff Bezos is doing right now? Do you think he's eating a sandwich? That would be my guess, I think. Yeah, you'll figure it out. Okay, well, I guess I am pretty good at figuring things out, huh? Thanks for noticing. What is this conversation? Man, I don't know. It's kind of awesome, right? It makes you wanna stay here forever, right? Is good for the eyes good, or is that bait? Is this candy and ice cream, or is this a meatball? I'm kind of feeling like it's not a meatball. I'm gonna skip. Let me check my camera. He's taking a piss. Can I be honest? I don't like when people say taking a piss. Cause like, what are you taking? Why are you taking it? That's weird of you. But maybe that's just my own issue. Man, I wish I could have put this on Claw. I wish you could enchant it more than once. Sorry, excuse me. Probably playing on Ascension 8 with a sandwich while his just murder Basil. That's so messed up. How dare he? Man, I want a sandwich. Oh my goodness, sorry. A sandwich sounds so awesome. Okay, check this out. We buffer, and then we just ignore that. Sheesh. Bezos has strung himself up by his feet and has his secretaries dangle a sandwich around on a string as he tries to eat the whole sandwich while they both swing separately. This is a new game he likes to play. Girl, what? So he's like dangling upside down, like trying to chomp at the sandwich. I wish I could look into your mind. It sounds interesting up there. Class is supposed to tell Basil about the drones, but she went to sleep. Yo! Man. I would go to sleep. Sue me. I like having little naps. Is that such a crime? I don't think so. Also, yeah, I agree with you. Pretty girl. Yippee! I like my girls. I like my girls. 1 plus the 9. You're kind of bad at doing math, huh? Pretty so fine. Chili. Chili some bars, huh? Yeah, J-Hope, not me. I don't know. What if you're mishearing the lyrics? What if he didn't say that? And you're just a freak. Have you considered that? Have you considered that you're a freak? I'll take some time to consider that. Okay, none of that is particularly helpful. Okay, check this out. Sheesh. I'm gonna cheer you and pretend you're nice to me. I think that's pretty realistic. I think I'm generally pretty nice. In a way. in in some sort of way. Mm. Is 12 damage worth it? Surely. Surely. Mm. Wow, we're witnessing birth. Nature is so beautiful. Hmm. This hand is not so beautiful. Okay. Okay, not so bad. Oh. I don't think I got this from. Okay. Girls are so pretty. Are you just thinking about girls over there? That's kind of awesome. I am a big fan of pretty girls. Sheesh. Yeah? That's so nice. Shout out pretty girls. Shout out to evil girls who straighten their hair today. Oh, that doesn't kill him. Guys, I think I'm low-key dead. It's looking a little... It's looking a little cooked. I can defend 10. But this is maybe... this is maybe a bit more than 10. ... Well, I guess this would maybe help. Is that okay? I think that's okay. Shout out girls and girls who straighten their hair today. Girls and girls who straighten their hair today? Like they're separate entities? What does that mean? I support women's wrongs? Oh. Me too, I think. I guess maybe it depends on the wrongs, but... surely if a girl does it, it's fine. XQC, I think he's banned. I don't remember. Somebody's banned. I think it's him. They're last playing Baller League? What is Baller League? Sheesh. Sheesh. Yeah, I banned XQC. Man. It's so over. It's so over. What if they wanted to be friends? What if they wanted to be friends and now they're gonna get the wrong idea? Thank you for your service? Oh, do we not like them? I don't know a single thing about them. Is this a clone moment? Or a go take a nap moment? I guess if I go this way, I could do both. Sheesh. I'm in the Baller League. Time out Jesus? Why are we timing out Jesus? What did he do? Guys, when is Easter? Does anybody know? Is that next weekend? I'm not really up to date. I don't really know ball. XQC is the most boring guy on the planet. Yo, that's so mean. That's so mean. I didn't know you had actual beef. Alright. Alright, speak your truth, I guess. April 5th. That's next. That's next Sunday. Does anybody have any Easter plans? Is anybody painting eggs? I haven't painted eggs in quite some time. I think it's because it feels sort of wasteful. Because like I'm not eating a boiled egg. I'm just straight up not doing that. And I don't really want to boil eggs and then paint them and then just throw them in the garbage. But I don't know. If anyone wants to eat some eggs, let me know. I'll paint them for you. It's okay, Shirley. Surely I log in. Sigh. Sigh. Looks off into the distance. Surely this is fine. Not a time at Jesus so he can return and rise again in chat? Just in time for Easter. Oh. Now do Ascension 6? I don't have Ascension even unlocked on this guy. If you hop on, I can play Ascension 6. Really? There's someone more boring? That's crazy. I aspire to be the most boring streamer. Not yet, but like one day. One day I'll get there. Eggs? Do you like eggs? Raise your hand if you like eggs. Would you say XQC was made to be a boring corporate guy who faces the horrors but somehow got famous? Is this like, are you writing are you writing a TV show about him? That's kind of awesome. Hop on, hop on, hop on. You don't want that, man. You don't know what I want. I want honeycombs and also a sandwich. Eggs? Eggs like you like eggs? Or you just thinking about them? Ask gives out painted eggs and tells you to suck them. Easter 2026. Okay, but would you? Would that work on you? Do one more solo run? Don't even worry, I'm doing one more solo run. Oh, wait, that's so good. It's so good for claw build. Okay, I'm locked in. XQC should have been in Severance. Well, maybe he's already severed. Maybe that's why you think he's boring, cuz he doesn't remember his outie and his streaming persona is his innie, you know? Have you considered that? No. If I handed you an egg that like I painted Kirby on, you wouldn't suck on it? That's so messed up. That's so messed up. I thought we were homies. Okay, this is a really good card, but it's gonna be a little useless until I get zero cost stuff. Womp womp womp. Sorry. Well, chat, I'm in Severance OMG chat. This is kind of hairy, chat. Is that how they talk? I see. Well, let me clear my throat. Blah. What if XQC is Jesus and that's why he hasn't been around? Because he's banned? Are you saying the reason why Jesus, like, the person hasn't been around is because he's banned in my Twitch chat? Is that what you're saying right now? Maybe that's kind of real. The innies in this show are actually interesting, but I think XQC is the kind of guy the severance procedure was made for? Oh my god. I hope we don't have any XQC fans. I really don't know anything about them. This feels like we're rage baiting though. I yep, I believe you. Yeah? Oh, no, that makes sense. Surely that makes sense. Hmm. Okay. Not sucking eggs for you. Yeah, but if Zora told you to, then you would. And I think that's kind of messed up. I think that's kind of messed up. Ugh. If we have any XQC fans, please unfollow. No! What the hell? Listen, you're allowed to like boring things. We're not gonna crucify you for liking boring things. I'm taking money. This is part of my evil deeds. Oh. Oh, I get it. Well, you know, it's Women's History Month, so I think you're allowed to be evil. I think that's okay. I'm somewhat of a philosopher myself. Suck eggs for us. True. Real and true. Don't bring that up, you're right. Oh my goodness. This is so unfair and messed up. This is so sick and twisted. And that's why Jesus is timed out. Yippee! Okay, I feel like this is going pretty okay. Do we like shopping? I think we like shopping. I guess there's this one as well. But go there. Yeah, I think it looks nice. You're doing it, baller. Oh my goodness, so supportive. Thank you, thank you. Yippee! I don't know. It would be so cinema. It would be so cinema to get a nice club build. There's truly nothing more satisfying. Okay. Okay, everything is okay. IP loves you don't sell your deck when I join. Oh, that's kind of real. Although, in this game, I feel like selling your deck is a good thing. Like, if it was Cloud Build and the only cards you had were, like, Feral, and then a Claw, and then... I don't know. Like, something to draw a card. Sheesh, I think that would go crazy sicko mode. Maybe, perhaps. Low-key infinite, probably. I don't know how you do infinite stuff. But wouldn't that be so awesome? Okay. Okay, we're doing it. The recent patch made infinites harder. Is infinite just like there's no levels, like you just keep going forever? I feel like you have to have a certain je ne sais quoi that maybe perhaps I do not have yet. I don't think I'm built for that yet. But one day surely. It's a deck where you infinitely draw and play attacks in one turn and win. You can infinitely play on one turn. Really OP cycle? Oh. But does card draw not cost money? Or like energy? So how would that work? I didn't know that. Sounds kind of awesome. There's ways to get around it. It's tricky. Learning. Learning, perceiving. Have you ever done that before? Ugh, cards that take HP to give energy and that stuff? Oh. Can you... Can you make your HP go down to 0 from these cards? I don't know. I never take cards like that. Kind of scary. I tried, it went so bad. Oh. There. Oh my god, Feral. Sheesh. I love Feral. I would like this to be upgraded. But I feel like it would just upgrade a Refend or something. So maybe we get rid of this. Yippee! What a pruny hand. It looks like this person's been in the bath for a bit too long. Yippee! Okay. I think upgrading is swag. They're wearing your sweater? Oh. Do you have something you'd like to tell us? Okay. Did you try collecting the parts of Exodia? What? Parts of Exodia? I'm not really sure what that is. There's a funny map though. I mean, are potions really that good? I feel like anytime there's an option to get a potion, I am just not that excited about it. I'm not potion pilled. Yu-Gi-Oh barf? Oh. You say barf, but like... You knew what it was, so isn't that a little bit... Never mind. This guy's kind of awesome. I like his fishnets. No, he can barf. What? Oh. Well. Carry on then. Swag. Make my beloved! Oh my goodness! Hi. How's it going? Oh my god, it's so real. It's so nice to see you. Did you finish packing? Did you finish packing or did you play DBD? Erm, yeah? Wowie. You're just like me for real. Okay, check this out. You dead as hell. Sheesh. Is bulk up a good card for Claw? I feel like it probably is. I don't know. I don't want to bloat my deck, but I also don't want to not have stuff. Okay. Don't want any of these cards. Packing up 4Ks, perhaps? Sheesh! That's kind of awesome. I smell a falsehood. What does a falsehood smell like? Does it smell good? Hmm. I think those potions are swag. Perhaps, maybe. Oh, what a nice little fella. I probably should have bulked up first, huh? But that's okay. I was letting everyone escape. It's blood point grinding season and I want everyone to benefit. I'm not like entirely sure what that means. But are you saying you played as a killer and you lost on purpose so that people could get points? Is that what that means? Aw, thank you for the 5 streak, Karen. Thank you, thank you. That's so sweet. Does it feel good, peanut butter baby? Ah, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, like, I've seen the peanut butter baby because you showed me it, unfortunately. But I don't know why you're saying it. Are you just feeling like a peanut butter baby for today? Man, no claws yet. No claws yet. It's like Loki cooked, but don't tell anybody. I think we can finagle it. Man, shout out to finagling. Or finagling if you're Mick, I guess. I was letting them escape so they can get more points. I still got a lot of points. Just 2 hooking and chasing. I don't need to kill them, spreading some love. But what if you get even more points by killing them? That's so generous of you, though. That's so sweet. I don't think I'd do that. I don't think I'd do that. I think I'd just kill them. Free rat finagles? Sheesh. Is that how you spell finagle? Finagle. I don't think I like it that much. I don't think I like it that much at all. That's something somewhere that doesn't feel good. That I immediately forgot and it reminded me of that. Oh, I see. I think you just always have like peanut butter baby on the brain. What if you combined peanut butter baby with ash baby?
Does it feel good? Oh.
Uh-huh. Okay. I don't I don't like the way he said that. I don't know. Kind of unusual. I don't like it either, can I be honest? Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Surely we just move past that. I do. The event right now progresses by completing and damaging jets. So theoretically, by not ending the game soon, we can get to the global max multiplayer sooner. Oh. So I think it's just nice to have goofy matches once in a while. That's so cute. I hope it's such a good time. Who did you play as? Were you the artist? Second, an embarrassment for him. That's crazy. Did not feel good, huh? It's hard to be sweaty 100% of the time. I don't know. I don't know. I think if there's a will, there's a way. if he wanted to, he would. I don't know, just lock in. I'm locking. I'm locking. I'm locking. Hmm. Get rid of colorless. We don't need that. Man, we don't need this either. Is machine learning good? I'm afraid I'll have too many powers. I really, truly just need a claw. I played nice artist and nice Wraith, but I don't think I really had a choice on being nice on Wraith. Wraith is Bing Bong! What? Oh. Like you squeeze him and then he complains about his wife? Yeah, all defense with Goopy. Hmm. I wish Goopy didn't, exhaust. I don't know. Because I feel like if you're playing a long game and you play all your defense, then they're just gone, maybe. Hmm. Do you guys like Tears or Legion? I like Legion just because I like seeing a funny little guy. I don't know if the effect is actually that great. They made Wesker feel a lot worse. Oh, but you love Wesker. It's so over. He's the one with the belt. Oh, yeah, I do quite like. I do quite like when you go around with the bell. Poopy is Poopy Chief. All right. Okay. I believe you. But do you like Tears or Legion better? I think I like Legion. Thought you would recognize that name over Wraith? So I typically call him Bing Bong. Oh. No, I think I know Wraith. Tears make your enemies cry? Oh man. I did not pick Tears. But don't worry, my enemies will cry when they see what a swag little creature I have. Hello, you're wonderful and cool, but I have 14 hours of CD to no life. Crimson Desert? Hello, Big Papa. I hope your desert goes so well. I don't know anything about that game other than other than there's foxes in it. I hope you see so many foxes. I'm not fond of Mercy. That is the craziest thing anyone has ever said. You're so real for that, though. You might have unspent energy if you go class, so maybe that's a play, but we like cute fella. Yeah, I do quite like the cute fella. I don't know, I feel like maybe you don't need too much energy with claw. Like, even if you had the extra, I don't know what you do with it. Wraith needs a dinner belt or a triangle. I read that as Wraith needs dinner, like, when I first scanned it. And I think that's kind of awesome. Oh, I'm just eating all of that, huh? Don't even worry. Don't even worry, it's so okay. Sheesh. Maybe they meant they had to listen to Big Time Rush CD for 14 hours before they can be social. Sheesh. That's so awesome. Does Big Time Rush have CDs? Asking for a friend. I quite like CDs. I'm a big CD enjoyer. My car can fit 6 CDs in it. Sheesh. Obtain Lost Wisp. If you play a power, deal 8 damage to all enemies. I don't think that's really awesome. I think gold is more awesome. I'm taming chunky kitties. You can have 30 and you can dress them up in armor and outfits. Oh my god. You're playing Infinity, Nikki, but for kitties. That's so awesome. That's so awesome. Bros will nurse read him. What am I looking at right now? I've never seen this before in my life. I like this plushie. Start each combat with 4 block. Is your max HP by 3? Fake merchant? This one, if you have the potions without the merchant, you can fight him. Oh, yeah, you told me about that. 30 kitties? You can tame 30 pets? Do you have 30 pets in the game right now? That's so swag. Huh. Uh-huh. I'll take this moldy mango, I guess. Well, there's not a shop for a long time. Maybe I can also take this plushie. I don't think it's good, but it sure is cute. This guy sells weaker fake relics, and you can kill him and take them all with those potions. I feel like I don't get the potion event too often. I feel like that would be quite hard for the stars to align. That's awesome, though. One dog. Are you gonna put the dog at camp and then have 30 cats? Oh. Your poor dog. Why can't the dog hang out with the cats, huh? 30 pets is so many? Yeah, I would feel bad. I would feel bad not being able to pet all of them. I think you can tame a lion? The lion goes where he pleases. Sheesh. That's so cute. What is the plot of the game? Like, is it supposed to be just like running around taming pets and fighting people? Like, is it Pokemon? Or is that just a side quest that you're particularly interested in? I should have vulnerable him first, but it's okay, he's dead anyway. Can you tame a fox? Not yet, next DLC? That's so sad. That's so sad. Foxes are so cool. I'm not biased, by the way. The pets loot your kills for you while you're in combat, and cats give better loot faster? Oh. Well, do dogs not have an ability? I don't need defend. It can fall into the abyss. Ah, sorry. So far, I do like the main story. The appeal of the game to me is the world. It is the story. The world is the story. That's kind of awesome. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Playing for 14 hours, so we stand in a circle that turns us into a cow. And we walk in the entire time. Yo! I love the cow circle. 14 hours is crazy, by the way. I don't think I've ever played a game for 14 hours straight. I don't know. I don't know what my max gaming session is, but I think it's probably only like 9. Dogs are faster and some dogs can fight? Oh. Wow, this is just like Warframe, huh? It's gonna hurt a little bit, but that's okay. Someone did a script where they walked from the point of the game, from where you start, right after the tutorial, to the entrance of the endgame biome. It took 4 hours in real life to make it there just by walking. Oh my goodness. big game, huh? Sheesh. Quitting Eyes is nothing I've definitely played for 24 hours straight on one game before. Hashtag meow wolf. Oh, okay. Thanks for that. Thanks for the tag. Mm. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't stay up for 24 hours very often. I like sleep too much. But that sounds kind of crazy. I guess I've been to like a LAN before. And that's like you wake up and you're at your computer and then you play on your computer until you go to sleep and all your friends are there and it's awesome. But I don't think that counts because I definitely like left to go eat and such. I don't know. I don't know. 24 hours is kind of wild. I want to escape Slay the Spire, but literally everyone is slaying it right now. Free me. I'm so sorry. It's just so fun. It's just so fun. Surely you would understand if you also played it. Real? Dirty, what do you mean real? Weren't you playing this? Oh my god, Claw. Weren't you playing this game recently? I feel like you were playing this game recently. 62 hours into the game and I've done 15%? Mm, that doesn't sound like a crazy statistic. But I feel like... I feel like in every game I play, I'm like 100 hours in. But I couldn't tell you what progress I made. I'm a bit of a viber. My Twitch keeps auto-muting your stream and it's making me mad? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know why that would happen. I can't since I don't have the money for that, so I'll never understand. Free me. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't be the one to free you. You're gonna have to free yourself. Oh wow, that really killed him, huh? Okay. It's okay, we're going crazy sicko mode. I walked away, what's up? I don't remember what's up. Oh yeah, you played this game recently, right? Like time, have fun, have fun. To the Crimson Desert Grind. Yippee! I hope you have fun too. I hope it's so good. I hope all your kitty cats are so happy. I feel like this game we rat in my library after 30 minutes of slogging through. Oh, are you not much of a card gamer? I don't know. I really like card games. I really like card games. I feel like I could play this game for a super long time and be chill. Hmm. Can I kill him? I think I can just kill him. Fun animal? I've never seen him called animal before. That's so funny. It's really fun with friends. Yeah, real. Real and true. Hop on. Hop on, friends. Hmm. Is this good? Is this good or is this candy? I've been trying to unlock stuff for when I get invited to play, but I've kind of been enjoying myself. It's so good, right? I don't know. I think it's definitely more fun with multiplayer, but I could definitely play this alone. It's so nice. Card games are so fun, but multiplayer goes crazy real. What other card games do you like? I'd like to get more. Are you asking me? Mm, I... Well, if you're asking me to recommend stuff to you, then maybe you would like Mormons. And maybe there's a cute little like sticker card game called like My Card's Better Than Your Card. I think you would maybe like that. If you're asking me what I would like, just like not in regards to recommending to you specifically, I'm a really big fan of Hearthstone, and I really really liked Inscription as well. Um, um, also Mormons. I think Mormons is really fun. I want to play that one again. Seems like deck building low key. Okay. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. It synergizes. Yeah, it synergizes, but I don't know. I think maybe I would take it if I had more claws, but I need I need more claws. I need to draw just claws. Ugh, Inscription win? That's so real. That's so real. I think everyone should try Inscription. Maybe, perhaps. I think it's good if you get rid of a strike. That's about it. Yeah. I think ideally having no strikes is good. Hmm. Got a lot of money, huh? I think Wind Charm is maybe fine. If I can get that on a strike, that would be cool. Or sorry, not a strike, on a claw, that would be cool. But I guess we'll see. My problem with my games is I'm a little Luke Moon. I don't know how to say notes and more cards. Oh, with this game. I think that can be okay if they're good cards. I think it's okay to have cards that don't necessarily like synergize with each other, as long as they're all like decent value. But if you're just taking random garbage and it doesn't synergize, then maybe it's cooked. Wait, some new card games, will you try them? Yeah, I love card games. I love card games. I would try any card game. You don't have to send me them though. You can just recommend some. Chomp. I think these are my favorite enemies in the whole game. Not like to fight. I don't care about their attack patterns. But I just really like the way they look. They're like they're like little bugs. And like, I don't know. That's quite cute. I never say no to cards and it works out for me. Sheesh. Haven't even played that many card games, so I did put some devious hours into the card mobile game. Oh my goodness. I had that one as well, but were there microtransactions in that game? I don't know. I remember feeling like unsatisfied because like I couldn't unlock more cards or something. But I don't know if that was just I was bad at the game or because you had to like do microtransactions. I don't know. You tried deck tumor? No. But eventually, surely. Fast service, slay the Spire Knight win? Yow! Cute. Real and cute. It's unfortunate it's only 4 players though. Makes hopping on Slay the Spire after this run, right? Surely. Surely she is. Looks at you with my big eyes. With my big boba eyes. Surely makes hopping on. Surely she doesn't have to do anything today. The beetles came for their bananas. What? Oh my god. I would feed that beetle a banana. They're quite cute. And maybe Link Charm is not that good. But surely, surely it will pay off. George is so wise about the beetle bananas. Still waiting for you to say your favorite card games. Chop chop, I need to see if they're good. Did I not say them? I think Inscription was my favorite one that I've played. I'm also a big fan of of Hearthstone. I really like Lurkana. That's like a real card game, like not an internet one. Um, I like Slay the Spire a lot. I've only played one session of Mormons, but I did quite like that one. Ozzy was cooking with that one. I think that's all. This issue is this game can be so long for one run, and I'm leaving in about 2 hours. What if I'm also leaving in about 2 hours? Have you considered that? Have you considered that? It works out so perfectly. No pressure or anything. No pressure or anything, unless pressure works. Then, like, a little bit of pressure. Hearthstone! Real, I love Hearthstone. Any stream in 2 hours? Yeah, I gotta give my friend a ride. I promised to give someone a ride. So, it's a shorter stream for today. Maybe I'm just not a fan of card games? I haven't played either of the Slay the Spire games, so I can't say anything about them. But the rest I am a fan of. Seem to only like Uno? Oh. Well, if you mean like physical card games that you play like a deck, I guess that's a little different. I really like Love Letter. Love Letter is super fun. If you've heard of that one. Exploding Kittens is fun. I wouldn't say that one's my favorite, but I always have a good time playing it. Uno's okay, but only if you play by my house rules. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I've ever played a card game that I didn't really like. Like I said earlier, wouldn't know if I like Slay the Spire till I play it, but I have a gut feeling. Yeah, I guess it's not for everyone. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Mm-hmm. No, thank you. This deck low-key sucks. Like, we're getting there. We're getting there. Feral and Claw both being upgraded is good. But, like, I need something to draw cards. I need Scrape. This is fine. This is fine, but it could be better. Now, do you think I should heal, or do you think 27 health is chill? If I upgraded bulk up instead of resting. I don't know. I kind of don't remember. This is the guy where you have to take damage at the end of the turn, right? Maybe I should rest. Not a fan of 1, but 2 is better? Really? I'm a big fan of 1. I do think 2 is better, though. Like, I agree that 2 is better, but I think they're similar enough. Hi, are you winning? Hi! Mr. Marnell, we might be winning. Maybe, perhaps. It's kind of hard to say. We're not losing, so that's something. Maybe it's just my pessimism shining through. I don't know. Glad you're at least having fun on it, though. Thank you. I am having fun on it. That is pretty real. I want to get better, though. I don't know. I don't know. I really like it, but I don't know if I'm not good at it yet. But we're getting there. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, look at my little guy. Hi, Icy. Man, you always come in and redeem those, huh? Pika-pee! Let me attack this guy and then I'll squeak Monzy for you. He surely has a lot to say. Thank you so much for the follow. It's a deep game. Being good at it takes time. Yeah. I don't know. I know some like general tips and strategies, but I don't know. I feel like the people who are really good, they're playing like 5D chess. I don't know. And I have one friend who like he knows the attack patterns of all the enemies. Like he'll be like, "Oh, he's gonna do 27 damage next turn, so you should save that for next turn." I'm like, "Huh? How do you remember all that?" That's crazy. I don't think I'll ever be quite that level. But it is really fun. Got ramen and coffee? Sheesh. What kind of coffee do you have? I hope it's vanilla. Okay, listen up. Oh yeah, pretty cool. I think I'm just not a fan of any game that's good if you have friends or better if you have friends to play with. So I already have a nice little lack of friends that play games, and the ones that do play games I can't run. The ones that are painfully boring. Mm. No, that's understandable. That's understandable. I would say, like, it is true that I have more fun playing this game with friends, but I don't know. I really truly enjoy it. Oh, I should have played Claw first. I really truly enjoy it by myself. Like I'm a happy camper. Ugh, I wouldn't call this like friend swap or anything. Memorizing attack patterns is crazy. No, literally. And I didn't even know it was like the same every time. Like I just assumed it was random numbers being calculated up here. But no, I've got it. I've got some crazy friends, I guess. I memorize attack patterns in Souls like. I don't know how you do it in this game. Man, I don't know how you do it in any game, to be quite honest with you. I think maybe I'm just not built for memorization. Unless it's plant identification. I eat that up. Frick this guy. Oh my god, frick this guy indeed. Mm, it's looking a little like dead in here, to be honest with you. Am I dead? 21 plus. Okay, that's 30. Okay, no, I'm fine. It's just sus. It's just sus. Surely I get claw and I win this turn. I don't have claw. It's okay. We win anyway. How many friends are there play games that would blow up my PC and there's no way for me to just resolve that? So I don't have money for graphics card. I just straight up don't play games. Workaholic types, you know? I know what you mean. Is Echo Form bloating or no? What if I had Echo Form and then also Feral, and then I had 3 claws? Is that good? Is that good or no? Depends on the enemy. Some have set patterns. Oh, it's not all of them? I wonder what determines if it does or not. Plant identification? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. When I was younger, I was a little freak, and I was like, I need to know what every single flower is. And so I would just go out into my mama's garden and like study the flowers. Or like anytime we went to Home Depot or Walmart or anywhere with like a garden center, I would go around and like read the labels and be like, all right, these ones are pansies and these ones are Gerbera daisies. And I don't know. I don't know. That's the only type of memorization that I was ever um good at. This is a carrot. This is a cucumber. Uh, thank you, Jochi. Also has Cardjon? Oh, that's true. So that's probably good, right? Does this upgrade cheaper? It doesn't. It just gets rid of ethereal. Well, I guess I have the tea set, which is sometimes helpful. Okay, I'll try. All enemies have a specific number of moves or attack they can do. Some choose them randomly, and some have certain rotations, very roughly speaking. Generally not very important in this game. That's crazy that you know that. Orbs are not weapons. Yo, frick you, I'm not even using orbs. Oh my god. Throwing axe? Throwing axe with Echo Form or Feral? Sheesh. Throwing axe goes crazy. I feel like the power difference between Sai and throwing axe is crazy. Oh, this is at the start of turn, not the start of combat. I thought this was low-key just an anchor. I guess that's not bad, but I'll take this one. I'll take this one. I need to get rid of this. And low-key getting rid of these would be nice too. Okay. I have a lot of money, so maybe going shopping is good. Suddenly me vigorously waving my hand from afar? What would that even sound like? What is the sound of a hand wave? Okay, I gotta remember that I have throwing axe. Can't be forgetting. Maybe like this. Sheesh. Not blocking that at all, but I think it's fine. I think it will be okay. Wish, wish, wish. I'm waving really hard so it's blowing lots of air. Oh, I see. That's kind of awesome. You're like a car dealership, little guy. Sounds like moving air. Oh, I see. Yeah, that's kind of awesome. Need more energy. Maybe, perhaps. Maybe at the beginning of the game when I was like, I don't need the energy carryover thing. Maybe I was mistaken. But it's okay. It's okay. We're chilling. Sometimes I wish I was a master streamer, not for the fame or money, but just so I could say dumb things like I just did and have someone animate it. Sheesh. Yeah, that's kind of awesome. Where's our Carrot Chomp fan edits at? Mhm, mhm. This is so nice. I think I'm cooking. I think I'm cooking a little bit. Maybe a quick snap and youch after I snap my tendons from waving too hard? Why are you waving so hard? It's so over. It's so over. That sounds kind of scary. Mm. Damn. Is ornamental fan good for me? Probably. Had to imagine so. Okay. So this will play Feral twice. Is that real? Sheesh! That goes crazy. Momentum is good too. Oop. Oh. What does momentum do? Was that the one where it's like gain block and then gain 1 energy next turn? I thought that one looked kinda lame. Stream elements was the link to Discord again. I seem to have forgot. Yo! Are you making fun of stream elements right now? They're surely trying their best. It's so unfortunate because I want it to be vulnerable, but I need the claw to be good. Well, that's good too. It would have made your claws busted. It makes it 5 plus damage as combat when played. What? What is momentum? I don't think I know that one off the top of my head. I didn't know. I'm kind of picky about the cards I take, I guess. It was a dagger thing that's an enchant? Oh. Chance your claws is not a card. I don't think I even read that one. Listen, it's so regular. It's so regular, probably. Look, it's fine. It's fine. We don't even need that. Find an official design. I don't think I'd use a doodle in my profile picture. Need me a good Shinka form? Somebody told me what that was very recently, but I don't remember what that means. You have a goop guy? That's so true. Shout out to this little creature. Yeah, I think, am I even going to a shop? There's this one. Oh, I guess there's this one as well. I feel like I need my energy potion though. I don't know. I don't know. This isn't any ascension, so I guess it's fine to be greedy. I told you what it was, and you seem to have forgotten already. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh, I would never forget. That doesn't sound like me at all. Oh, how's your run going? Hi, Shade! It's going pretty good. It's going pretty good. I have a really nice claw build going on. So I think everything's good. How's it going for you? She forgets literally everything. Okay, well that's not entirely true. A humanoid form of an object or creature? You want to be a humanoid carrot? That sounds... That sounds like it could be scary. Maybe, perhaps. Do I beam cell and then claw, or do I just build my claws up first? Much to think about. Tried to make claw build work so many times. You have yet to be successful. Really? I feel like in Slay the Spire 1, I couldn't get claw build to work. But I feel like, I don't know. I don't know, something's in the air. I think it's a lot easier in this one. In my opinion. This is going pretty nicely. Sheesh. No, the first time I ever played Defect on this game, I tried to do a claw build. And I didn't win. But I think it's just because I didn't have anything. Oh, I forgot about that. I think it's just because I didn't have all the things unlocked yet. I think it's kind of awesome. Oh man, you're so close. His legs are so thin compared to his arms. Unfortunate little fella. Ah! Oh yeah, I forgot. No thank you. No thank you. I do like script. Yeah, do you want this? Shout out to the voice actor for the merchant. He sounds so awesome. Probably don't need this. Is it better to get rid of this? I think realistically, I don't want any of them. Yep. Yep. Looks good. Like these things keep it coming. He likes it. He likes it a lot, I think. I took a shower earlier, but I have to swap to a cheaper soap recently. My skin feels like a nightmare. Oh, do you have any lotion? Surely lotion would help with that. Certainly a new deck we have. Is it? is this? Is this not? Is this not how you do cloud build? I think it's looking kind of optimal. Do we upgrade Echo Form or do we take a nap? Guess I could upgrade Bulk Up. Don't really want to. Maybe this isn't worth upgrading, because, like, if it's in my hand, I'm playing. Like, I'm not gonna let it cycle around, right? So maybe 3 strength is better. This is what we call top banana? Oh my god. Thank you so much for saying that. It is feeling pretty nice. If it works, it works. I know it's a bit low on the card John block, but... Gambare? Well... It's like 30% block, right? And look, I got dexterity. so surely... That's... good. Dot, 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 dot. Surely, maybe, perhaps. baby! I might, but I'm not sure. I get weird looks when I buy lotion nowadays. Really? I don't know. If you're looking at someone strange for buying lotion, I feel like you're the weird one. That's just me, though. Oh, that hurts a little bit, huh? Where are the bottom bananas? Raise your hand if you're a bottom banana. Um, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I'm not seeing any hands raised. I guess we're all top bananas. Or maybe like I'm the top banana and then you guys are just regular style bananas. Sheesh. Oh yeah. That's so satisfying. I had a bit of lotion and now I just feel like a creamy guy. I don't really know what that means. I feel like that could be awesome though. Air my guess. Wow. Shout out to all the little bananas out there. Sorry. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Get rid of Zap? Yes? Yes, good. Fruit juice? Swag? Is this the last shop? It is. Yeah. I think this is good. Hi, Flying Fox. It's good to see you. Shout out all the little bananas out there. Well, yeah. Kind of awesome, right? Hopefully about Leap. Wink wonk. Oh, God. Leap? Isn't Leap just block? Why would I do that? I don't need that. Swag. Hello. Hello, hello. Happy weekend. This one is so chill looking, and then this is like the ugliest little baby I've ever seen in my life. I guess it'd be like that sometimes. He looks like the peanut butter baby. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Oh. I should not have echo formed that, but it's
Oh.
okay. Ah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh, yep. Okay, never mind. This is all fine. I'm drinking this fruit juice. Why would I block? I was about to explode. Yo! No, but look, I have an ornamental fan. So I don't even need to block. I can just attack like crazy. Do I echo for my bulk up or just keep going claw? Surely 6 strength is better. Is that real? I don't really know if that's real. It's feeling kind of real. Yeah, see, who even needs to block? Look at my little goopy puddle. He's doing such a good job. Sloggy Froggy? Sloggy Froggy. That sounds nice. This is not nice. Surely if I get rid of these 2 defense and I just have the 1, then I would always have my hand every single turn, right? Is that how that works? Because you have 5 cards in your hand, right? and the powers go away. So if I got rid of these, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is a power 2. Yeah, in theory, if everything was perfect, I'd play the 3 powers. These 2 would be gone. And then I could play all of these every turn. This is like infinite, but it's not. It's booty bonds! Yo! That is so messed up. I'm like winning though. I'm like winning. I bet my run is going better than yours did. I'm gonna do a summoning circle before I sleep to summon somebody who has money. Like, like you're summoning like a sugar parent, or like, is that what you mean? I wish you the best of luck. Doing great, sweetie. Sigh. I am doing great, sweetie. Thanks for noticing. Hold on, I'm thinking. Man, it's so sad when you don't have claw in your hand. Hologram can bring claws back too? What is hologram? I know All for One, and I know Scrape brings claws back, but I don't really remember what hologram is. Like, he's gonna be so vulnerable. Oh, yeah. The enemy is doing a beetle build. It's over! Shoot. You're right. You're right. What am I supposed to do? Oh, wow, I'm just eating that, huh? Oh, well. Wow. It's not so bad. Ugh. Mods deleted. Zora search Floss deleted. What? Are you saying suspicious things in my chat? My mods are gonna beat you up. Okay. Check this out. Check this out. Kind of awesome. This would be even more awesome, I think. But, you know, it's fine. Beggars can't be choosers, I guess. Oh, I should not have used that little guy. Teehee. Yep. God, I'm so good at this game. Beautiful. Oh, thank you. What if we go crazy and we live on 15 HP? Man, I'm not the biggest fan of this guy. He's kind of meh. I think my favorite one is the little experiment, the 3-headed yellow lizard freak Bob. Ouch. Okay. Do we bulk up or do we defend? Yay! 15 HP with like 1 block and a piece of jam toast. I want a piece of jam toast. That sounds so nice. I think bulking up is probably for the best. I think. Oh, maybe I should have drank this. It's fine. If things go poorly, we'll just pretend like it didn't happen. Wow, that's pretty poor, huh? It's okay. It's okay, we've got claws. They're going crazy now. Everything is so okay. You guys seeing this? Are you perceiving how cool I am? Sheesh. Yes, kind of. It was unintentional. Hmm. Yeah, tell it to the judge, buddy. I guess it doesn't matter if he's dead anyway, right? Sheesh. This is kind of nice. This makes me feel like I want to play Ascent 6. Sheesh. Okay, check this out. Mm-hmm. Look, he died before turn 4. Kicking this guy would do be kind of gaming? Yeah! That was so easy. That was so easy. I could have done that with 2 less defense, I think. How do you keep coming back? Man, I wish I knew more about this little freak. Also, he's called the architect, but I'm pretty sure so the spire is like a tree. How do you architect a tree? Then we play and we explode and die. That's kind of real. That is... It do be like that. Timeline? I'm still missing stuff. Kill 15 bosses with the Necrobinder. Be Ascension 1 on Ironclad. And Silent and Defect. Oh, I see. Did that unlock the Ascension? Oh, it did. I see. My 2 weakest guys. Okay. Teehee. Hold on, let me... let me take an ad break real quick. I gotta get my ducks in a row. Smirk emoji. But you can watch Baby Sensory. So it's a good day for you. The artwork for this game looks good at least. It's really nice. I quite like it as well. Um, um, um. Okay. Please watch these little guys. And I'll be right back. Oh, thank you for the hydrate and stretch. Hold on, I'll do that first. And a Pika Shisha. Pika Pia. Okay. Please enjoy your veggies. I'll be back. Wow, this song is sicko mode. I used to listen to this song so much. Okay. Are you out of Agile? I think you're out of Agile. Hold on, sorry. There's so many tabs open right now. Are you qualified to put ducks in a row? Why wouldn't I be qualified for that? That's crazy. Of course I am. Of course I am. Have you guys ever had a duck before? My brother had a duck. I don't. My brother was like an injured duck that needed special treatment, and he just took it home. He just took it home. So we had a duck for a little bit. Hold on. Hold on. I'm getting Zora in here. Not all the peas are the same size, are they not? Are there some smaller peas? I don't know. I don't know. I don't vibe with the veggies. I like the fruits better. Okay, hold on. Hold on. I'm figuring stuff out. I'm figuring stuff out. Don't even worry. Fake baby sensory fan. No, it's just that I'm a fruit baby sensory fan. I'm not a veggie. I'm not a veggie enjoyer.
Whoa.
How's it go? Yeah.
I'm so ready to play Ascension 6.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah.
I just slayed really hard. So
I was definitely not watching. That would be weird.
That would be weird. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. Oh, well, look, we're matching.
We're matching.
We're matching.
I think this is the hardest one.
I think this one is really easy for me if I go Doom, but I don't want to
I
say that
think
because then I'm
Doom
gonna
is
get
so hard.
I think Doom is good as long as you
No,
just
you
like
have to defend
basically only
against
have
it.
Doom cards.
Ugh.
Well, there's one that gives Doom and blocks at the same time, so that one's pretty
Oh,
OP.
I guess that's nice.
I just wish this fella wasn't bald. Can I say that?
The whale?
No, not the whale. Our character. I would hope the fucking. I hope
Well,
the
it's
whale
a
doesn't have like a
skeleton.
crazy fro or something.
Well, I hope a skeleton doesn't have a crazy
Have you ever
fro.
Oh, you haven't even watched One Piece. There's a skeleton with a fro in One Piece, and that guy's awesome.
Does he wear a Hawaiian shirt?
He does sometimes. His name is Brooke, and he's awesome. He's a musician.
Oh. I think I know who you're talking about, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, that's that fellow.
Oh. Do we like him?
Shout out to One Piece enjoyers. I love that guy. He's my like third favorite character.
That's
okay,
embarrassing.
well that sounds cooked. Okay, but there's a lot of good ones, alright?
Okay. Who's your first favorite? Is it Mihawk?
My first favorite is Sanji, but not the live action one because he's British. Sanji's supposed to be French, and that's not much better. But I think British is no. Can I say that? I'm gonna say that anyway. Where are we gonna go?
You can say that. I don't know. He's a bit of a simp, huh?
He is, but it's different.
But not in a
show,
charming way. Oh. Okay.
No, he just is kind of a weirdo. But like he locks in sometimes, and then it's charming.
Okay.
Yeah, you just wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
Oh, where is a Sanji enjoyer too?
He's your favorite? Oh my goodness. Wait, who's your second favorite? Is it Mihawk? Why did you say Brooke was your third favorite and then you didn't even have a second one? You're
well,
like, I know.
You're like,
I need a space open because I know he's not that good, but I don't have anyone else in mind.
Second favorite is hard because I really like Zoro, but also.
Oh my god, it's your namesake. Also. Huh?
No, but I do get compared to him just because he's bad with directions.
Oh.
But I don't know. Ace is really good too.
Oh, I was on Pinterest looking for Mihawk profile pictures, and I accidentally got an Ace one, and that's how I learned who that is.
Oh, was it like a bad spoiler?
No.
Okay.
It just like I looked up Mihawk.
Oh.
And then I was like, yo, this person is so pretty. Why does he look so different here? But it wasn't. It wasn't Mihawk.
Okay.
Yeah. But since Ace isn't in the live action, I don't know.
He's
He
in the
is.
next season. I'm pretty
He
sure they've
is!
casted him already.
Yo!
Yeah, I think like the fans really wanted this one specific person casted, and they ended up just doing that.
Wow. That's so nice.
I'm pretty sure. I haven't watched it, so I don't know.
Oh.
Oh, Chopper is such a good one. Chopper's in the next season of the live action too.
I saw him in the trailer. He looks like a marketable plush.
In the best way. I will. He looks like a freak bub sometimes, but
I like the crying Chopper meme.
Cool doctor.
I don't really know what cards there are, so I don't really know.
What are you trying to go?
I'm not trying to go anything. I'm just gonna like see if there's a good card and then go whatever that is.
I see. Well, those ones kind of suck. I won't lie to you.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
I don't know what I'm talking about though, so don't listen to me.
Who's Eva? Iva? Eva? You don't even know.
I don't recognize the name, but surely if I looked at
Fake fan for
Oh my
real.
god, you like them? That is crazy.
Yo, are you being mean right
now? No, that's not what I was expecting.
Who is it? Hello?
Oh, I'm not gonna answer, like, that's not my favorite.
Oh, okay. You're gonna look it up and then you're just gonna like...
If I explain who they are, I'm sure it wouldn't be like as biased and it wouldn't be as good.
Oh, okay. Yeehaw person. I don't know what's going on.
Is that new? What if we killed the other one and it got stunned so we didn't take this damage?
What if I want you to take that damage?
That's so nice of you.
Yeah, you're welcome. See, this is why Doom Loki sucks.
No, it's regular. We just gotta get the card that kills them if their Doom is higher than their health.
Isn't that like the rare card though? So you're
Yeah,
basing
but
your
like,
whole
surely-
build upon getting one specific card.
Well,
That
we're not basing our whole
sucks.
build on it, but if we do get that, then like it's good.
Okay. On clay?
That's kind of a based one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just won't get it.
if the character is not in season 1 of the live action, then unfortunately I don't be knowing. I really like Mihawk though. He's so cool. He's so
Mihawk is good in both.
I like his sword.
I like his really tiny sword that he pulls out.
That's so awesome.
We found like question marks because that kind of looks cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Strength isn't very good for us, is it?
No. Well, there's a card that's do damage and then apply doom based off how much the damage is, right? But I don't know if that's
Yeah.
worth fighting 5 elites or...
I don't want to do that.
Okay. I hope we get the fake merchant. That was kind of cute.
I hope we do too, but I want to murder his ass.
Oh.
Oh, sorry, you said it was cute. Sorry, I didn't. I didn't really comprehend that part.
Thanks. Ouch. Poor Asti.
Yeah, that's kind of real.
Does applying doom... That doesn't count as damage.
No.
Okay. Yacht.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cause So One Piece anarchy.
No, it's okay. I don't mind if people talk about One Piece. I don't have anything insightful to say unless you want to talk about Mihawk, but. Mm-hmm. Ouch. I got a Mihawk card. Pretty cool.
Cool.
Pretty cool. No, it's like really cool. My friend gave it to me. It's like a full art. He's so handsome. He's so handsome. I like his eyes a lot.
Have you seen any clips of him in the actual show, like the anime?
No.
Oh, okay. I think he's cooler in the actual show, but
Really? Who
yeah.
voices
Well,
him?
I don't. I watched it in English. Let's not talk about that.
Okay, well,
But his English
who's
voice is
his
good
yeah,
too.
who's his English voice?
Oh, I don't know. He's a cool
Oh,
fella.
I thought you'd be knowing.
I think they're in a lot of popular things, but I don't know them.
Okay.
I don't know their name.
You don't know him like that? No, it's the pushing you just got. Yo!
Yeah, I've got 2 of those. I've got
Oh my
I get to play 60,
goodness.
60, or do whenever.
I mean, I want Doom cards for real.
I remember last time I feasted, I was like, I was really fat, and it was the worst thing I've ever done. I'm not feasting ever again.
Like, your character gets fat? Does
No,
that
I
have
don't
any.
get fat. I play.
What?
I played with Azu, and I was like, I'm about to feast like crazy, and I feasted like 20 times, and at the end, it just gave me like the worst curse in the entire game. I don't remember what it was.
Oh.
It was so bad. I'm not doing it.
That's unfortunate because you had to pay a lot of gold for that too, and then you got a curse.
Yeah, I paid like 400 gold, and then I got like something really bad at the end.
I don't know how many times you can feast.
You can
safely.
do it a bit. Are you doing it?
Yeah. Oh, I don't want to push in. Push-ins are kind of mid. You saved. 41 is chill. Never mind, this isn't chill. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's fine, I
This
guess.
pathway kind of sucks. Who picked this?
Yeah, I don't know. Yo! I don't want to be here. What the hell?
I don't either. That regular.
Yeah. Okay. I don't have any AoE damage cards yet.
I got just the blocking doom stuff, and that's good, but it's also not that great.
Blocking doom stuff? Oh.
Yeah, whenever I use it, I apply doom to all enemies.
Wait, that does sound good though.
It's good, but if you have blocks in your hand, it's not. You just have a whole hand of booty.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah, this is cooked. I'm sorry.
You should be. It's all your fault.
Oh, I know.
Her little feet are so dainty.
They are.
It looks like a ballerina or something. I never know the right strategy for these guys.
It's just, I don't know. I would hit one and then not hit it again until next turn when it's not blocking.
Yeah.
Unless you have some crazy damage or something.
I don't think I do.
Oh, that one's not even gonna die.
It can die, it can die.
Oh, good job.
Thank you.
This isn't so bad.
It's
It's not
not?
great damage from it, though. Well, we're still gonna take some damage.
Okay, so it is like kind of bad.
Oh yeah, it's just a little bad, but we're scaling. Surely we can handle another elite after this, right?
Are we supposed to? I don't
I kind of
know. Why would we do that? We're going this way. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I could. Nah, never mind. You about to die? You're chilling.
No. I'm chilling on 4 HP. Yippee!
Oh.
um,
I think the elite will be fine because I can just use my doom potions and it'll
Why?
probably die.
Why would we go
No,
to
like
the
not
elite?
that one. I mean like this one. Like this one's
Oh.
even gonna be a sus too.
No, but look, we're gonna take a nap here. It's gonna be awesome. Yippee!
Right. Do you want to hit this guy? I can do 9 damage to him. What about you?
I can also do 9 damage.
Oh, you should do this.
But I could do 2. Yeah.
You got him.
I got him.
You're gonna die.
Yeah, I know. I don't think I got him. I think you gotta get him.
I'll get him. Just like do what you can.
Okay. Am I dead anyway? 18?
You have 8.
It's
I think you're exactly dead, right?
9, 17. No, I'm dead plus 1. I think. It's fine. It's fine.
It's never been more fine.
It's never been more fine. You got it.
But hold on a second.
That's what I'm saying. But it's okay. If we're both going Doom, surely
Yeah, I think
one of us will find the kill the little guys with Doom card.
Maybe I like Doom because I never got good at Silent, so I never really played her, so I didn't know what Poison was like.
Really? Poison is so good. It's so much easier.
It is pretty nice.
I feel like this card is so expensive. But maybe it's good. Sight of Flesh, it's when you apply a debuff, they take 9 damage.
If Doom is a debuff, then that would be Pog.
Doom is a debuff, I think.
That's like for the whole like combat, right?
Yeah.
Not so bad. You want to take the? It's up to you. I don't really care.
Okay.
I don't know. You're lower, so maybe that'll be good, but I don't want to just take the buff.
Well, do you even have any attacks? Oh my god, healing. Yippee! I love healing.
Yeah, I'll take the healing.
I'm bad at Silent. Chichi, which one do you like to play the best? I don't know. I always thought everybody liked the Silent.
I feel like she's tough. I don't know. In the first one, at least, I was ass with her. Like, I played her like 3 times, and I was like, never again.
Really? I think the Ironclad is so much tougher.
The Ironclad was my favorite in the first one.
No. I got like everyone up to like Ascension, I don't know, 6 or 7 or whatever. But then him, I could not get past like 2. It was so bad. Nice little sewer clam, huh?
Nice. Like he's got some big lips.
I feel like that's just how clams are, right?
You be kissing clam.
Well, no, like their whole body is lips, right? What is Hang?
Hang is it's like a kind of like a claw situation. It's just a card that does more damage every time you use it.
Double is crazy. Does it
Yeah, I
stack?
got a random rare card in the. Yeah, it stacks. I think.
Oh, can you do like
Like if you go ahead of hang
hang
too.
build? Is that viable?
I don't know about all that. Maybe you should get a bunch of them.
Oh.
It's a rare card though.
Oh, I see. This game is really an enigma to you? What? Kara, I don't understand why you dislike it so much. You don't have to like it. I was a Neko fan. But I like the Brobot and the Ironclad after right now. When you play Neko, do you like Doom? Or do you like little summon guy? Hmm.
You can do a little bit of damage.
I can, but
Yeah.
18 kind of sucks, huh?
Yeah, but like there's a fire soon.
Oh, okay. Mhm, 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 mhm. Do you ever take soul cards? Or no?
I do if it's the one that gives it to you and all like your allies. That's the one I like, but I don't really pick them up that much.
Okay.
But there's no downside to them unless you're playing somebody that like has burn or something like a debuff card.
Oh, I see, I see. Hmm. Do I just like eat this?
Please don't.
I kind
Big.
of want to.
Oh, you can eat it.
Mm. It's fine. That worked out better, I think. Okay. Swag. You like summon? I thought I liked the idea of summon. I like summon in other games, but I don't know. Maybe I just didn't have all the cards unlocked, but I felt like it was kind of difficult. Mm. Mhm. 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 Yup.
Looks good. Yep. All right. Slurp.
Mhm. It's
What is
gonna
this?
hurt so
What
bad.
is this?
What? What? Where's
Oh my
what?
god, sorry. I was
What?
just saying that.
What?
I didn't mean to offend you.
Oh, well, like that's fine. But like, what are you talking about,
Nothing.
girl?
Any day.
You can be patient, you know.
I just don't think I can be.
Okay, well, you can suck an egg then. Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I feel like I always get my defense like in a little group when I don't necessarily need them all. Hi. Okay, wait, maybe everything is chill. Maybe everything's not chill. I changed my mind.
What? What do you mean? It's okay. Next turn we surely stun him.
You can stun it on him. Sorry.
You stunner.
Oh my god, what a good one.
Do you think we can get him to 154 or nah?
No.
It's okay. He doesn't do damage anyway.
I lied.
Oh, you did. You stunned him.
Stunning on him.
Now he's gonna apply 99 vulnerable and clap our cheeks.
No, he's not.
Oh, okay.
I think it'll be fine. Look at how much doom he has.
Yeah, we're doing it.
I think we're doing it. You at least made the egg for Sora. Yeah, I guess so. It's
You
not.
guess you painted
I
the egg for me to
guess
suck.
so. It's not Kirby though. You can get like a weird little one.
What's my weird little one?
I like polka dots.
It's not even like a thing. It's just polka dots.
Did you want it to be a thing?
If I'm sucking on it, I want it to be cool.
Well, what do you think the coolest thing to suck on would be? Like Kirby?
I really don't want to answer that.
Okay,
that
well.
is none of your business.
Okay, okay, I'm sorry. Well, I don't know if I had to. I feel like a Kirby egg is just really freaking awesome, but maybe.
Shouldn't Kirby
Maybe
not
like
be the one
Monsley?
being sucked? Oh, you
Like a little Monsley egg? That'd be kind of funny.
for sucking.
Well, that's not the important part. I think the
Okay.
important part
just
is
mean,
just like it's a cool egg.
Mm,
It's just like having a cool egg.
okay.
Like sucking an
But you were
egg is
asking
just
me
unfortunate.
something different.
No, because
You're
it's
like, what would look really cool for you to suck on?
I didn't say what would look cool. Well, you're not gonna look cool either way. Like you're sucking an
You think
egg, and you just
there's
have
no
to
way.
come
What if it's
to
like a
terms.
cigarette egg?
That's not cool.
Oh.
Like it just sucks no matter what. So you might as well be sucking on something that's at least like cute or interesting. Don't laugh.
I think we cooked ourselves.
I
don't think there's any way for this to be good.
I think you made it weird.
I didn't make it weird.
You didn't?
Don't ask me that.
Okay, sorry.
You better be. I wish I could buy you stuff.
I wish you could buy me stuff too. Jeez.
What do you mean? That's not the desired response.
Sorry.
Boy, yo, 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 yo.
There's not. There's only like
You
the Doom.
sat up straight for that one, huh?
Yo, the only Doom cards are like for block. I don't want that.
You don't like blocking.
I don't. Lollipops are just not an option. Oh wait, a lollipop egg would be cute.
Okay, that sounds kind of nice.
I think that's good.
Shout out Sanji.
Does he suck eggs?
There's like a kids version of One Piece that they like really cooked and they censored everything and it made it weird.
Oh.
It's called One Piece for Kids, like literally like 4 and then kids. And he smokes a cigarette like in almost every scene he's in, but they turned it into a lollipop and it looks so strange.
It looks strange. I think that sounds kind
it
of
looks
awesome.
so strange because it still looks like a cigarette, but it's just like a lollipop stick. Like it's just like a lollipop at the end of it.
Wait, why is that strange? I like that.
It's silly.
No, I think people who always have lollipops are cool as hell. I don't know. Every time I'm walking around with a lollipop, I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling cool.
Just like a girl walks by, he like his jaw opens and a lollipop falls out. He's like, oh god.
Well, you know that's awesome. That's like the locking in that you were talking about. I think.
Okay. Don't say the locking in that you were talking about like you're unfamiliar with what that is.
Well, no, it's just you said earlier like sometimes he locks in, like you were talking about that.
Okay, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. Shout out Sanji. I don't know. I don't know if I would like him that much. I don't know. I think I would time him out.
Yeah, I don't think he should be on Twitch. Let's just be real.
You think we got this?
I think we got this. I should use my potions.
Well, you don't like particularly need to. Okay. You like fans from Italia? Okay, well that's different because if I watched Italia for the first time now, well, first of all, I don't think I would. But if I did, I would I wouldn't like France, I don't think. I think maybe I'm just nostalgic for him. 'Cause I used to like him, you know, but he's a bit strange.
First of all, I don't think I would.
Well, I don't think I would. That's just my honest opinion.
Thank you for sharing your honest opinion.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for being on my stream.
Oh my god.
I'm a little weak.
That's okay. I will keep popping off.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Shout out to Enfeebling Touch.
What?
It decreases their strength.
Oh, that's the weird like poking symbol.
I think so. Ah. I'm just gonna eat this and it'll be so awesome.
It's okay. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
He probably dies his turn.
Sheesh. Oh my god, you're right. Swag. I like the ground opening up. Where do you think they go? Do you think they're going to the unbred people?
To the what?
Like you know in Amori, the you like sacrifice the things and then there's the bread people.
That's so cute.
I like them so much.
Alexa, play Ready Steady Go.
Show what a good one. Have I played any of the Pokemon games? I played Pokemon Platinum, and I played Shields, and I think I played Black, maybe, but not that much. I played Shield the most, but I haven't beat any of them. I get fed up with grinding. Oh my god! Look at him.
Ew, I did not like what he just said to me.
Really? To me, he said, blah blah blah.
He said, ooh, ba 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 ba.
You didn't like that? I think that's kind of cool.
Should I transform all my strikes and defense? I don't
Yeah! Get them out of here. You don't need defense?
need them. I got the blocking one, so.
Oh. I like shield. I did like shield. I did like shield. I like that you can see the little critters instead of having to just like run through the grass and hope you're getting the ones that you want. I think that's quite nice.
I like Arceus.
I never played it.
I didn't either, but I like it. I don't know, the music went hard in that one, and that one looked really nice.
Oh.
It's okay, the other guy will get stunned, and then we'll be chilling.
Okay. I love chilling. A pretty overhated game? If only its story was good? Oh, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know the story of like any of the Pokemon games. I don't really know why they're doing their stuff. I'm just interested in collecting little guys. Oh, he's almost dead already. Sheesh.
We're kind of popping off.
What's this? Oh my god, that was cool.
Oh, you have Hang. Wait, this would go crazy.
Yeah. Pretty cool, huh?
If we get tag team, we might have a cracked build.
Oh. I'll look for it. I didn't get it.
Pot of ghouls. Oh, it's just a potion.
Pot of ghouls.
Sorry, I'm perplexed over here.
Perplexed.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever obtained a random doll and it wasn't Bing Bong?
Yeah, I gotten the blue one.
Really? Every time I pick the top one, I get Bing Bong, and I really don't like having Bing Bong.
Where are we going? We going to the question marks? Because I'll choose the one if I. Yeah.
Wait, there's so many question marks. Sheesh. I feel like that's not smart, but like it's exciting, you know? So that's something.
Which one? You got Bing Bong?
No. I'm shopping. Be patient.
I got Mr. Shargles. That sounds kind of nice. If it's a long
Okay,
one, because we do
closer,
Doom and we
sir.
take a long time.
Oh. Yeah, I guess I'm not really playing attacks, huh? I think you're cooking.
Cheese.
It's kind of late for cheese, right?
I don't care. I like cheese.
Happy for you. Man, I should have taken cheese.
Is there anything good for you? That's some booty.
Well, maybe represent 2. Oh my god.
You have to?
You have to.
What if we just face come?
No, it's not that bad.
Okay.
Plus, I really don't know if I want cheese.
That's
Because
okay.
it's only worth it if you go 15 turns, and that's so much. I'll take pokes. Surely that's my win condition.
Surely.
Shitly.
Oh, this is not ideal.
You're not squash pilled?
I'm squash pill, but I don't want more cards.
I'm not squash pilled.
Really?
I don't either. I want to have 8 cards in my deck. I think that's awesome. Yo, I want both of my potions. What the hell? I also don't want attack cards. Ugh. Trick question. I don't care. I'm playing white. Carrot. Wait, what are the starters for white? Tell me which starter you picked.
I want to go to the fire. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm. This is not optimal.
This is really bad.
Okay, well, it's not really bad.
It is for me.
Nuh-uh.
Oh, okay, it's fine for me.
It's fine for you.
It's not a problem.
It's not a problem. See, these are the affirmations you should be telling yourself every day.
What if things turned out better than you imagined?
Oh my god. Why are they both powers?
I have like 1 power card.
I have
2 actually.
I have 1. You take that one. Tepig, Snivy, and Oshawott? You're going Tepig or Osha? Oh man, I like Oshawott. It's a cute little fella. Whoa. Oh my god, I can just give the frozen egg that I just got and didn't want that bad. Sheesh. These relics aren't good, but I'm glad to have them.
Yeah, I got one that at the end of turn 7 deal 52 damage to all enemies, so maybe that's gonna go crazy.
Yo! That does go crazy. Oh my god, that goes crazy too.
Okay, maybe this is fine.
Everything is fine. I'm broke as hell though. Can't even
Yeah, things
afford to remove a card from my deck.
Things aren't looking so good.
I drew a
Okay,
sad
pick a
cat
number
about it.
between 1 and 2.
2.
Alright, well, I got a toolbox, so I don't know if that's good or not, but we'll see. Oh,
What?
what a cute guy.
What does your toolbox do?
Choosing a colorless card.
Wow, I hate that.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Well, why did you choose a number between
was
1 and
2.
2? Well,
Because there's only 2 options.
why did you... You could have just saved your money. Why would you just buy something to buy it?
I didn't do.
You just wanted to buy something?
Yeah, I'm like that.
But that's like actually not even good for your... Because if you're trying to live a long time, like to turn 7 on all that stuff, I don't know. I just feel like having random cards cycling is not awesome.
Yippee. That was a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Oh, thank you for making it so I didn't take damage.
Yeah, of course.
Cheese. Ow.
Cheese, ow. And you always say
Sorry.
that.
I do.
When it says gain block 2 additional times, does that mean 6 times 3 block? Or does that mean 6 plus 2 block?
I would think that means 6 more than once, right?
Okay.
Am I crazy?
I don't know. Oh my god, a little fin hat.
Oh, this is a good one that the toolbox gave me. Take this. How do I do it?
What am I taking?
I'll get you energy.
Oh, thank you. Sheesh. You have yet to go, water starter? They're a weak early game. Oh. I thought they were all about the same. I know, I usually go for grass ones. I'm a grass kind of fella. Do you think we got this?
I think we do.
Okay.
It's gonna hurt a little, but it's fine.
Oh. Oh, that's kind of bad,
You're
huh?
getting dazed like crazy, huh?
Days. This is a lot of days, huh? Ouch.
Ow, I didn't even look at how much damage I was taking.
You are on 11 health.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna die.
Oh, maybe don't do that.
Nah, I'm dead.
Yo! I can buffer you.
That would save me.
Wow, shout out to Squash.
Okay, we're good.
Yay! Oh, wait,
Yeah,
it is
my-
6 soon. Your butt.
Yeah, I figured it would be like more than once. That's good. I just have a lot of cards. Like I was doing fine whenever I had a smaller deck.
Oh. Thank goodness you took a relic that puts more stuff in your deck.
Real. God, that's not good. God, that's not good.
What if it
Oh,
is?
that's fine.
What if it's so awesome? You are on 5 HP.
Yeah.
I like his smirk.
I haven't. I feel like I can't even speak anymore. I've lost it.
Okay, try again.
I feel like I haven't even upgraded once.
Really?
Yeah, I've just been kind of taking damage.
Well,
I got tag team this turn for this combat.
wait, that's so good. Okay. I think things are good.
Saving in tag team for Hang. If you get it.
Man, I don't even have it. But it's okay. I don't got any blocks. I don't need to attack either.
I would have used different things this turn.
Huh?
I didn't know that you were gonna like take all his strength away.
Oh, sorry. I'm stunting on him.
You're cool.
I am cool, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Still no hang. It's so over. I can reap.
Should I hang or run away? Like back up a little bit.
I think you can hang. You have full HP.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Chilly is chill.
I think we're doing good. We're almost at turn 7 too, so like we're chilling.
Yeah.
I should have vulnerable him first.
It's okay, it's
Meat
okay. Meat merp.
Wait, the hang is going crazy.
I'm gonna get rid of all my cards and just have hang. And then pretend it's
sick.
claw. Yippee! Ouch.
I feel like we're doing actually pretty good.
I think so. Thunk.
Hey.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
What if I'm dead?
That's like suboptimal.
Well, enemies with at least as much doom as HP deal 50% less damage.
You should do that one.
Well, no, that's just a relic that I have.
Oh.
I'm looking.
Well, like how much damage is he doing to you?
20. I can only block 5. I live on
You have
1
Asti, right?
HP.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
It's...
And then you hang and then we win. It's fine.
I don't have hang.
You will next turn, right?
How's it hanging? I don't know, my drop pile's being shuffled.
I'm hanging.
Hey, how's it hanging? Did you like that joke?
Yeah, I did.
Doesn't sound like you did.
Oh.
I don't have hang. Do you survive this?
I do, but I'm about to die.
Oh man. Thank you for
Am I
the care
living that?
package. Yeah. Are you?
I don't know. We'll find out.
I don't want to find out because, like, I'm dead.
Okay, he's doing 30, and I
You have
got
30. You have exactly
Yeah.
30, and then your little guy.
And then I've got Asti.
It's so cooked. It's
Why?
never
We'll kill him
been more
next turn.
cooked. We do?
If
Well,
I
I'm
don't die here,
dead.
then we'll crap.
I'm dead here, so
I'll
can
do my best.
you kill him next turn?
Oh, he's already dead. See?
Oh.
Ah! I got sucked!
Wait. Oh. Hey. Wait, why did that happen?
I got sucked.
Oh.
I was too close.
Oh. You did get sucked, huh?
I was the egg the whole time.
You were the egg.
I was the egg this entire time. That's crazy.
This is so sad. My
Oh my
egg
god, I've
is
never seen that
gone.
happen before.
Really? The first time I played this game was with Hero, and we were like, we did not understand how this worked. Like we didn't see the little like thing at the bottom that said like, oh, you die in 3 turns. We were just like distance based, and we're like, ah, yeah, it looks like we're still kind of far away from him. And then we both got eaten, and it was
I can't
sad.
believe that just happened.
That was so messed up.
Wow.
That was so sad. Well, yup.
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 It's so over. Well, I have to give my friend a ride in like 30 minutes. You think we can speedrun?
We,
I don't think we can.
I don't
It's so
think so
over.
either.
Why did you get sucked?
I didn't want it.
No, I'm sorry. It's never been more over.
It's kind of over, huh?
I'm in the potion lab.
That's where you belong, I think.
Really? I didn't
Yeah, I
like
think you belong in
potions.
there.
Oh, okay.
No, but like you'd collect the ingredients and
Oh my
that just kinda
god,
works
this
out.
is just like Skyrim. What a good one.
See, that's kind of real.
I love making potions.
You love making potions.
Yup. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yup. Do you know when this game is all done?
Mm-mm. I have no idea.
Huh.
Surely not anytime soon, right?
I have no idea. I didn't know it was an unfinished game to begin with. But my relic lore, my favorite text is not there.
They're saying about a year and a half or 1 to 2 years.
That's so long.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Good job, everybody.
Good job, everybody. Except for the guy that made the sucking enemy.
Well, I feel like that's a cool concept.
It's cool, I just wish it didn't happen to me.
Yeah, I wish you could read.
Okay, well, it was looking really good. Until he just reached his mouth over at me and now we're gone.
It was like he reached his mouth over.
Okay, it was literally, he just stood up and he just opened up and I was gone.
Womp womp. Sorry about you.
Being sorry.
You're welcome. I'm gonna maybe end stream perhaps.
You do that.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. Thank you very much for playing with me.
Thank you.
Yippee! Yippee, 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 yippee. Hi. Sorry the stream was a little bit shorter, but I gotta give my friend a ride, and I don't know, I don't want to be in the middle of something, and then be a bad friend. So just a little baby stream for today. Is this end? Yeah, this is end. This is end. But it's okay. We'll be so back on Monday. But it looks like Gugu's playing Slay the Spire also, so we can we can just get more Slay the Spire content, and it'll be so awesome. We're gonna cheer her on so hard. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great weekend. And I'll see you next week. Show Gugu lots of love. Here's raid messages if you want them, and yeah. Make sure you take good care of yourself for today. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.